Deadly infections, horrifying drug overdoses, and freak accidents. These are just a few of the reasons why some of your favorite teen stars were taken far too soon. Brittany Murphy's career was fruitful and full of promise.
Be seeing ya.
Yeah, I hope not sporadically.
The beloved actor, known for her dynamic roles in Clueless and Girl Interrupted, rose to prominence in the early 90s. She first started acting on teen shows like Boy Meets World. Then, thanks to her bubbly personality and unique beauty, Murphy became an it girl practically overnight. She even explored a music career. The industry couldn't get enough of this versatile actor, and she was subsequently cast in countless films throughout the early 2000s. When Murphy died suddenly of suspicious circumstances in 2009, shockwaves rippled through the nation. In the time leading up to her passing, Murphy had been experiencing flu-like symptoms that eventually developed into pneumonia. The star had no alcohol or drugs in her system, but was taking prescription medicine when she died. Murphy's official cause of death was listed as pneumonia with iron deficiency anemia and multiple drug intoxication due to the prescription medicine. The actor was only 32 years old. Cameron Boyce was a popular young actor with a career full of promise. Known for his bright smile and constellation of freckles, Boyce made his acting debut as a child in 2008, starring in Panic at the Disco's music video for That Green Gentleman, Things Have Changed. Later that year, Boyce showcased his acting versatility in two mystery horror films, Mirrors and Eagle Eye. His performances would pave the way for his breakout role in Adam Sandler's film Grown Ups and his subsequent shift to Disney stardom. Boyce starred in Jessie and the Descendants movie franchise, among other Disney productions.
It's amazing how much we've all learned and grown, but I definitely did not expect it to be this big.
In 2019, when Boyce was just 20 years old, he suffered an epileptic seizure and passed away in his sleep, shocking fans. Sudden unexpected death in epilepsy, or SUDEP, typically occurs in individuals who were otherwise considered healthy, as was the case for Boyce. Boyce was diagnosed at 16 years old and had only experienced about 5 or 6 seizures. Actor and musician River Phoenix started his career in the early 80s with a few commercials and a small spot on the TV series 7 Brides for 7 Brothers. His breakout role came in 1986 when he was just 15 in the movie Stand By Me.
I'm never gonna get out of this town, am I, Corey?
2 years later, after impressing audiences with his performance and running on empty, Phoenix earned nominations for his acting at the Golden Globes and the Academy Awards. In the following years, he would go on to act in films like My Own Private Idaho and Sneakers, among others. But sadly, Phoenix never got to live out his full potential. In the early hours of the morning on October 31st, 1993, Phoenix collapsed outside of a West Hollywood nightclub. Phoenix's autopsy revealed that he apparently went into cardiac arrest and overdosed on multiple substances, including cocaine and heroin. By the time he made it to the hospital, it was too late. Phoenix sadly died at 23 years old. From 1984 to 1985, 10-year-old Corey Haim played Larry in the educational television series The Edison Twins. His first film, Firstborn, was the beginning of a long string of films for the young actor. But his role in Lucas, in which he plays a teenage boy in love with an older cheerleader, is what launched him into the mainstream. Ironically, Haim's real life mirrored his characters. During filming, he fell for his co-star Carrie Green, who was 5 years his senior. When she rejected his advances, Haim, who was 13 at the time, used alcohol to soothe his heartache, indulging in beers on set. Unfortunately, this would mark the beginning of his addiction. While on set for The Lost Boys, Haim experimented with marijuana. As his success grew, so did his substance abuse. By 1997, Haim's career had begun to sink, and he found himself struggling with addiction. He filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy and moved in with his mother.
He doesn't have anything. He didn't even have a car.
Haim attended rehab around 15 different times in desperate attempts to save his career, but to no avail. In 2010, after finally managing to get sober, he tragically died of pneumonia at age 38. Dana Plato got her big break at 13 years old when she was cast as Kimberly Drummond on Different Strokes. The show became an instant hit, launching Plato and her other young co-stars Gary Coleman and Todd Bridges into superstardom. Though being on a successful sitcom was the opportunity of a lifetime, off-screen, all 3 actors dabbled in substance use. Plato struggled with addiction, and as a teenager, she experimented with alcohol, marijuana, and cocaine. At just 14 years old, she overdosed on prescription drugs. As her reputation began to plummet and her addictions worsened, producers worried that Plato's personal life would overshadow their family-friendly comedy. They consequently wrote her character out of different strokes, leaving Plato desperate for income. In the following years, Plato grappled with unemployment. She posed for Playboy and took roles in B-movies, but her career never recovered. In 1991, Plato turned to serious crime. She was arrested for robbing a video store in Las Vegas and was ordered to attend rehab to no avail. On May 8, 1999, just one day after claiming to be sober on The Howard Stern Show, Plato died of an overdose. She was 34 years old, and her death was later ruled a suicide. Heather O'Rourke was a child actor best known for her role in 1982's Poltergeist. O'Rourke was handpicked at 5 years old by Steven Spielberg himself and went on to reprise the role in both sequels. The classic horror series gained a cult following, and O'Rourke continues to be highly praised for her performance.
They're here.
In early 1987, O'Rourke contracted giardiasis, a parasitic disease from a water well at her family's home. She was later diagnosed with Crohn's disease and was prescribed cortisone injections to manage her condition while filming Poltergeist 3. On January 31, 1988, the young actor fell ill with flu-like symptoms. The next day, she went into cardiac arrest en route to the hospital. There, doctors discovered that she had congenital stenosis, a birth defect that made part of her intestine abnormally narrow, and rushed O'Rourke into emergency surgery. Sadly, though she would survive the surgery, O'Rourke went into cardiac arrest again and later died of septic shock related to her intestine. She was 12 years old. Jonathan Brandis was seemingly born to be a star. When he was just an infant, Brandis's distinct, cherubic features attracted the attention of child modeling agencies and landed him a gig with Buster Brown shoes. By 6, Brandis had built an impressive portfolio of commercials, but his big break didn't come until years later when he was a teen. In 1990, Brandis made waves with his role as Bastian Bucks in the Neverending Story 2, The Next Chapter.
Is there no one with the courage to stand up with me against the giants?
His performance would pave the way for bigger projects like It, for which he earned critical acclaim, but his role in Steven Spielberg's television series Sequest DSV turned him into a teen icon. Before long, Brandis's face was plastered on the front of teen magazines across the country, immortalizing him as a 90s heartthrob and showing promise of a rewarding career. Sadly, after Sequest DSV was canceled, Brandis's career slowed down significantly, leading him to depression. On November 12, 2003, Brandis was pronounced dead in what was ruled a suicide after he was found in the hallway of his apartment. He was only 27 years old. Thuy Trang was best known for her role as Trini Kwan, the Yellow Ranger in the original Power Rangers series, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. The Vietnamese-born actor appeared in 81 episodes between seasons 1 and 2 and performed many of her own stunts. Trang eventually left the show due to contractual disputes and went on to pursue opportunities in film. Her career seemed to just be gaining traction when her life was cut short. In September 2001, Trang was traveling between San Francisco and Los Angeles with friends when tragedy struck. The driver lost control of the vehicle, causing it to swerve into a roadside rock face. The car then flipped several times before hitting the safety rail and going over the bank. While the 2 other passengers survived, Trang sustained serious internal injuries and died on the way to the hospital. She was just 27 years old. From 1998 to 2001, Thompson Young played the lead role on Disney Channel's The Famous Jet Jackson. The popular show would go on to get a Disney Channel original movie before its cancellation in 2001. At the time of his death in 2013, Young was playing Detective Barry Frost on TNT's Rizzoli and Isles. When he failed to show up to work, his concerned coworkers sent police to his home to do a wellness check. According to reports, that's when Young's body was found with a self-inflicted gunshot wound, indicating an apparent suicide. He was only 29 years old. A source close to the late actor told E! News that Young didn't drink or party, but that he dealt with depression for many years leading up to his death. A year after his death, Young's mother, Velma Love, revealed to Columbia, South Carolina TV station, "In his late teenage years, he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and I noticed some periods of sadness, and that stabilized quickly." Young turned to religion and therapy to cope with his mental illness, but ultimately took his own life. Chris Trousdale began his career on the Broadway stage at just 8 years old. He first toured with the production of Les Miserables for a successful 2-year run before he was cast in the 1998 Broadway remake of The Sound of Music. Trousdale then moved to New York City and ended up performing in the popular children's group The Broadway Kids. In 1999, when he was 14, Trousdale was scouted for boy band Dream Street. The group released their self-titled debut album in 2001 and had some success with tracks like Feel the Rain. Yet after only 2 albums, a legal dispute between management and the singer's parents caused the group to disband. After Dream Street, Trousdale returned to acting with small roles on Disney shows like Shake It Up. In 2019, he announced that he planned to release an EP, but he was only able to drop 1 single, Summer, before his sudden death. On June 2, 2020, due to an infection, Trousdale was placed in a coma and died from complications mere days before his 35th birthday. In the 1930s, Carl Switzer was loved by millions for his role as the mischievous Alfalfa in the Little Rascals' Our Gang series. Alfalfa was a well-adored fan favorite thanks to his distinctive cowlick and a love for singing. The character became so synonymous with the actor that Switzer used Alfalfa as his real-life nickname.
I'm a pretty good-looking fella.
Unfortunately, in spite of his major success as a child, Switzer had difficulty transitioning to adult acting roles. After a stint on The Roy Rogers Show, he became a dog breeder and hunting guide. In 1959, Switzer got into an argument with his friend Moses Bud Stilts. During a routine hunting trip with Switzer, Stilts' dog went missing. Switzer put up an ad offering a $35 reward. When the dog was returned, Switzer rewarded the Good Samaritan in cash and drinks. Switzer then felt that Stilts should reimburse him the $50 that he had spent. Upon addressing his friend, the two got into an ugly altercation that led to Switzer being shot. Switzer later died from his injuries. He was 31. If you or anyone you know needs help with addiction issues, help is available. Visit the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration website or contact SAMHSA's National Helpline at 1-800-662-HELP 4357. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, help is available. Call or text 988 or chat 988lifeline.org.